Any other journalist in the house, please?
Yes, we said Bauchi to have one
Yes,
journalist,
I've
David
noted
Ayodele.
that. I've noted that. Thank you very much. Do we have any other journalists in the house, please?
Hello, my name is Georgina from Abuja, Silverbird TV.
Oh, hi, Georgina. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Hi, you're welcome.
Do you have any other Abuja-based journalists in the house, please?
Hello, sorry, come again.
Do we have any other Abuja-based journalists in the house?
Okay. Not a journalist.
You have us.
Do we have?
Hello, my name is Magabi.
Okay, hi. Hi,
Yes,
hello.
Hello, good afternoon. Hello.
Good afternoon. We can hear
Good
you.
afternoon. Okay, my name is Gloria from the International Center for Investigative Reporting.
Thank you very much, Gloria. Thank you for joining. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hello?
We heard you, Gloria. Felicia, we can hear you.
Okay. I'm from the Federal Ministry of Budget and National Planning.
Thank you very much, Felicia.
You're welcome.
So let's just give about 2 minutes for others to join. ActionAid's country director is also coming on board now. So please, shall we just have 2 minutes, please? Do we have any other journalists yet to introduce ourselves?
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
My name is Chris Kaka. I am a member of one of the platforms that SoFone actually created. And it's my pleasure to be tuned into the
Thank you very
program.
much, Chris. Thank you very much, Chris. Thank you.
Hello, good
Okay.
evening.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. My name is.
Yes,
Philip.
we can hear you.
My name is Philip Monte.
Okay. Thank you very much, Philip. Thank you very much, Philip. Is there any other person yet to introduce himself? Any other journalist yet to be introduced?
Yes, please.
Okay. Okay, Abbas Jimon, thank you.
Hello, can you hear me?
Abbas Jimon,
Yes.
thank you. We can see you.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
I'm hearing them.
We can hear you. We can hear you.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Can you hear me? My name is Austin Agabi, Vision FM Abuja.
Okay, Austin,
Okay,
thank you. We can hear you.
Okay, my name is Austin Agabi.
Thank you, Austin. Thank you, Austin. Okay, so other journalists, you could just drop a message if you're here, and so that we'll minimize we can mute our audio. And if you're a journalist and you haven't introduced yourself, please could you just drop a message or a chat for us while Mrs. Mary, do we have you here?
Hello.
Okay, I wanted to confirm
Hello.
that we. Hi, Adiola Tokuru, we can hear you.
Good evening, everybody. Can you hear me?
We can hear you, Adiola.
Okay, my name is Adiola Tukuru. I report for Blueprint newspaper, Abuja.
Thank you very much, Adiola. We're just waiting for, let's be on mute, please. We're just waiting for the country director to join.
I'm here.
She requested for 2 minutes and she'll be.
I have been here. I'm here. Tell me.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. All right. Since we have a large house already, I think we should proceed. This is a virtual press conference, and we wouldn't want to hold back. We have quite a number of journalists in the house already. Please, if you're not speaking, could you kindly be on mute, please? And so we welcome all the journalists. We welcome SWOFON president and the executive members of SWOFON. We welcome you all. We welcome all our stakeholders, people from the ministries and our journalists. We welcome you all to the press conference. We promise this is going to be as brief as possible. We understand the virtual press conference, and of course it takes a lot of resources. So I'll be introducing our ActionAid country director, NLB, and the SWOFON president, Mrs. Mary Afan, and both of them will be giving us the information for today. So shall we start with Ene, please?
Okay, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, thank you for your time for making out this sacrifice this afternoon. ActionAid Nigeria and the Small Scaleholder Women Farmers Organization in Nigeria, SWOFON, has deemed it fit to comment on the looming food crisis in Nigeria as a result of COVID-19 pandemic, which has crippled all sectors of the economy. We commend the federal government and the state governments and all stakeholders for their unrelenting effort towards containing COVID-19 pandemics in Nigeria. As an organization working to eradicate poverty, promote social justice, and gender equality, we have deemed it fit to draw the attention of the government to the continual loss of income and livelihoods in the agricultural sector, especially for the small scaleholder women farmers, arising from the continued lockdown and restriction of movement. As a result of COVID-19 lockdown and lack of access to markets, farmers are experiencing massive post-harvest losses on fruits, on vegetables, fresh products, and other perishables. So small scaleholder women farmers are unable to move their products from their farms to the market and from the rural areas to semi-urban and also urban areas. They are also losing income from the staple foods such as maize, rice, wheat, potatoes, cassava, soya beans, yams, sorghum, and plantain. Those engaged in livestock farming, especially poultry, are faced with a lack of access. They're faced with a lack of access to poultry feeds, which they usually buy. Fisheries and aquaculture farmers are also affected by the closure or low patronage of hotels and skeletal, operations in, those like restaurants. Before the emergence of COVID-19, small scaleholder women farmers were already faced with low and difficult access to credits, like essential inputs, farm inputs, improved seeds and seedlings, organic and non-organic fertilizers. However, the spread of COVID-19 has now further compounded the situation, as they now have no access at all. Being in planting season for farmers, it's pertinent to say that the food crisis is already looming in Nigeria, and we need to tackle it. Currently, there is a food crisis in terms of inflation across the country. The price crisis for the poor and vulnerable are facing hunger and malnutrition, and this includes our small-scale holder women farmers. The security agencies and the task force, the task forces enforcing the lockdown in the states and local governments at the community levels, they are incessantly harassing and extorting, money from small-scale holder women farmers. And as a result of COVID-19 pandemic, the world has changed, so is Nigeria as a country. The high-level panel of experts on food security and nutrition of the United Nations, the UN Committee on Food Security, has recently recommended that all governments must support smallholder farmers and local communities through appropriate stimulus packages in cash or in kind to enhance food resilience. It is against this backdrop that ActionAid Nigeria and SOFON duly recommend the following to avert the looming food crisis in Nigeria amidst the COVID-19 pandemic.
Thank you very much, Ene.
Yeah.
Mrs. Mary, please, you may go ahead with the recommendation, ma'am. Mrs. Mary. Mrs. Mary? Okay, so that we don't hold everybody back, we'll take feedback from Mrs. Mary. While
Mute. She's still on mute.
Mrs. Mary.
On mute. Ask her to unmute.
Mrs. Mary, I think you are on mute. Could you just unmute your laptop?
Ask her to unmute herself. Yeah. She has to unmute herself.
Mrs. Mary.
Hello, Madam Mary. Could you unmute your microphone?
I've done that. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Please proceed with the recommendation, ma'am.
I actually did not start with at the beginning of the.
Sorry, this is not the we are talking about
No.
President.
Mrs.
Mary, SOFON President, please.
Okay.
She's still on mute.
Okay, so that we don't hold everybody back, we'll still take comment from Mrs. Mary. Miss Ene, please, could you just proceed, please?
Okay. These are some of the recommendations that we have agreed. I wish you could read it, but let me continue and then she may take questions. Recommendation 1 is during the president's speech announcing an extension of the lockdown on Monday, the 13th of April, 2020. The Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development and other food agencies will work with the Presidential Task Force to minimize the impact of COVID-19 on our 2020 farming season. We call on the federal government to announce clear policy interventions during this pandemic to sustain local food production and supply.
I don't start. Let me record.
This also presents an opportunity to us as a nation to become self-reliant in food production and completely wean ourselves from excessive food imports. Special community local produce buying and transportation should be arranged to produce from smallholder women farmers to ensure food supply. That's the supply chain that it should be maintained. Smallholder farmers, especially women, should be exempted from the movement restrictions while observing precautionary measures so that they can go to their farms for work and transport their produce to the market. Because though the lockdown is happening, we will encourage food to be taken to the markets. Agricultural extension workers, extension agents should be exempted from the movement restrictions so that they can provide extension services support to the farmers while maintaining physical distancing and other precautionary measures. Special palliative targeted at smallholder women farmers, especially women, should be designed to provide for the needs of farmers as they are almost among the poor and vulnerable. Urgently, smallholder women farmers should be provided with agricultural insurance services, as the outcome of recent research by ActionAid indicates that the impact of agricultural insurance provision over the years to women farmers was very good in Nigeria. Social protection, unconditional and conditional cash transfer must be provided for farmers and farmers who are forced to leave their fields and not able to take their goods to the market, invariably affecting their immediate household income and their investment in the next season's harvest. We ask for grants, essential inputs, early maturity livestock improvements and seedlings, and fertilizers, preferably organic, should be provided for smallholder farmers, especially women, to avoid the crisis. The dangerous issue of fall armyworm invasion, which is evidence of its presence in now Abia State, should be addressed across the country. Agroecology for climate change, adaptation, mitigation, and sustainable food production should be supported, promoted, and funded by the government at all levels. The provision of face masks, hand gloves, sanitizers, and access to clean water for farmers across Nigeria should be prioritized and included in the national response on COVID-19. Farmers across the country should be targeted specifically and sensitized to COVID-19. The security agencies and task force, both at the state level, at the local level, and at the community level, should be directed and educated to stop the harassment and extortion of farmers, especially women. This should be monitored by the divisional police officers across board and defaulting disciplined appropriately.
Thank you very much, Ms. Sene. Thank you very much. Please, if you are not speaking, could you be on mute, please? If you are not speaking, we have a lot of distraction going on. If you're not speaking, could you be on mute, please? Do we have any executive member of SWOFON? Executive member of SWOFON that can give a comment?
Mary is back online.
Hello, I'm here.
Hello, Mrs. Mary. So NLB just took the press release, including the recommendation from ActionAid and SWOFON. And do you have any comments to add, or any other thing to add, or any other thing you'd like to reiterate, ma'am?
Okay, thank you very much. Actually, this is a very good one. More especially what I want to add is now the rainy season have started, and in fact, we are very disturbed, just as it was read on the release. We've not been able to access input, fertilizer, and just as they said, many of our women are being harassed on their way to the farm by the security people. I would like to stress the fact that presently we have a lot of farmers that have lost their crops. They don't even know how they can even start the farming season because the lockdown have made their crops to perish at home. They could not go to the market to sell them. And some of them that even took the crops to the market, the security people told them on the way that they are supposed to be on lockdown. The poultry farmers now, normally what they do is they sell the egg, then buy feed to feed the birds. But presently, they don't have where to sell the eggs. So the bird cannot be fed. They don't have where they will sell the egg. So virtually, during this season, farmers are able to sell their dry season crop to be able to buy inputs and then continue with their rainy season crop. But as it is now, farmers have gone back to square one at zero. They are starting at nothing. So I think it's a very big call that the federal government, in order to make sure that we stop the food crisis that is coming forth, the prices of the food in the market is already going up. We need to prepare to produce another one for the next farming season so that we can be able to put food on the table of farmers, or the table of the nation. No farmer, no nation, no women farmer, no food on the table. That is a very clear fact. At this COVID-19, the federal government attention should go more on how to feed the nation. After you survive COVID-19, we must eat. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Mary Afan. Do we have any more ESCO, Sofon ESCO that would like to give a comment? Sofon ESCO that would like to comment?
Yeah, hello everyone.
Please go ahead, Madam Zainab.
Yeah, my little concern here is the post-COVID plan of the nation. As farmers, our major concern will be actually what will happen to food security after the COVID experience, because most of the family has finished all they have. From what we are seeing on television and media is most of the food reserves have been empty. And we are trying to, control families indoors, which I'm sure will aid or help increase in families, because most of the families, I'm sure, in number in the next coming year will increase. So what will be the plan of the federal government as regard to food security after the COVID experience? So we need to stress the fact that more budget allocation should be added, or they should try to review the agricultural budget allocation so that more should be invested in agriculture. And in fact, the rural women farmers should be the heart of the nation, because they've seen clearly the role of farmers. Now in this short period, all families are being on lockdown. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Madam Zainab. Could you confirm your full name and your role in Sofon as an ESCO, please?
Yeah, my name is Zainab Isara. I'm an ex-official.
Thank you, ma'am. Do we have any other Sofon executive that would like to say something?
Yes. Hello.
Please introduce yourself and go ahead, ma'am.
Yeah, I'm Mrs. Chinasa Asonye, the Assistant Secretary of the Sofon. Yes, I want to also comment on what we're also experiencing here in Lagos State. I'm from Lagos, I'm in Lagos. And our pig farmers are experiencing swine fever now. Swine fever, all the pigs are dying. And we have even dug a pit where we bury all the pigs. This is lack of market. Because if we had a market where we can sell up those pigs, we would have started selling them off. There are even those that are even coming to even take off some of the pigs are even buying at ridiculous prices. So, and what we went ahead to do was that we had to see how we can have a snapshot, which we have done, and we are preparing to write to the government that they should come and, because this palliative that they are trying to package for the vulnerables, we are trying to tell them that it's better they come and buy up those pigs so that we can smoke them, dry them, and package them to ease up this problem that the pig farmers are going through. In the area of aquaculture, there is now fish glut. Farmers are going through a lot. You understand? We don't even have the money to feed again. Is it the planting? Is it the farming? Is it the vegetable farmers that have even tried to plow their land, and there is no rain? You understand? So then the egg people, that's the poultry farmers, are going through egg glut. The eggs are stacked in the farms. So this problem, we have to resolve this problem, because if not, these post-harvest losses are affecting the farmers, and that is why the government needs to come in. The palliatives that they are selling, that they are giving to the vulnerables, the farmers should come and dry or smoke or smoke this produce so that they can also use it. And that is what we have been trying to talk to the government that they should do. So the small older farmers are really going through a lot. What will happen? What will happen if this COVID-19 is called off? Are we still going to have food to eat? So we have to start working now. We cannot keep short. Look, the whole country is locked down does not mean that farmers are shut down. No, we have to produce. So please, we are begging on the ministry, we are going on the government to assist us. We are begging. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Someone dropped a message that he or she would like to say something. I don't know who that is. I believe that's one of the ESCOs too. Who else has something to say?
If I want to type a message, how do you do that?
Please, if you are not speaking, could you be on mute, please? If you're not speaking, could you be on mute, please? Do we have anybody that has anything to say before I move on to the journalist, please? Okay. Please be on mute if you are not speaking. Please
Hello.
be on mute if you are not speaking.
Hello.
Hi, Chris.
Hi, Chris. My name is Chris Kaka. I'm a member of the SOFON FCTPFA platform. Let me comment SOFON and ActionAid for their proactiveness. I think it's high time we had actually spoken to the government rather than them sitting in the comfort of their offices and then thinking they understand where the shoe pinches us as farmers and then reading our recommendations. I must say what we have said are actually in order, but then I think we must find a way of actually telling them to be specific to some states. I am aware that in FCT, markets used to run 3 times a week, where farmers themselves can bring their produce to sell. I think recently they said it's going to be twice a week, because when we make the complaints about saying we don't have access to market, I think we must become location specific when we make such a statement. While I do agree that the available markets or the days given to us are not enough for smallholder farmers to sell off, I think it's important that at state levels, we need to look at the peculiarities of what is on ground. I understand some states are total lockdown. Nobody goes to market, nobody goes to anywhere. Apart from that, I would like to actually want to dwell a little bit on the issue, one of the recommendations that was actually made about the issue of agric insurance for smallholder farmers, women farmers. I am aware, actually they did a research recently, and they also alluded to the fact that, look, there's an insurance platform that the government has created by NAIC for anybody who chooses to want to insure at 50%, it is subsidized 50%. And so when we say we are demanding for insurance, I think it's important we also clarify that for the benefit of the journalists who want to report it. Are we asking for a life insurance, or are we asking for an existing agric insurance policy to be modified, more like giving it perhaps more than the 50% existing at the moment, which is what the government policy says to any farmer who chooses to want to log into the agric insurance policy of NAIC. Those are my few comments. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chris Kaka. Azubike Wokoye is the program program coordinator for food and agric in ActionAid Nigeria. So he should be able to respond to your question on the insurance. Azubike, can you take that question, please?
Okay, thank you everyone. For the insurance, from the recommendation, what we are saying is that because the outcome of the research is that women are not really benefiting, and during the insurance assessment, we found out that even few groups that got insured they were never compensated when they suffered losses. So what we are trying to say is that smallholder women farmers need to have access to this insurance. That is what we are basically saying when we talk about agricultural insurance. Then when we are talking about, in terms of recommendation on issue of access to market, it is not the market days per se we are talking about. We are talking about also in terms of being able for the smallholder women farmers to transport their produce from the community to the market, the kind of harassment they also face from security agencies also, and most times they are not able to go because of those kind of harassment also. Then, with this lockdown also, the transporters are also facing a lot of challenges with security agencies and other tax sources. So that is basically what we are trying to say. And this is happening across Nigeria, not just in FCT, but in many communities across Nigeria.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Azubike. So can we take questions from the journalists now? Anybody with a question?
Yes, there is.
Please
Hello?
go ahead.
Yeah.
Let's take it one by one. Let's take it, Benga, hold on. Let's take it one by one. Please go ahead, ma'am.
Okay, my name is
Okay, I think we lost you there.
I try of looking safety of the farmers as well, going out to sell at this time. I think something else should have been a suggestion rather than getting them to take those goods to the market. An incident happened in Jalingo yesterday when I went out to monitor the total lockdown with 2 days relaxed, Saturdays and Wednesdays. Yesterday, Saturday was the first day it was relaxed after the lockdown 3 days ago. And there was stampede in the market because every smallholder farmer wanted to come and sell what they had. About 3 people or so died in that market. So we have to look at this issue very well. Should we allow them even go to the market at all? Or are there other alternatives that should be taken up now? Now, other governments should mop up. They can mop up these things the farmers are losing, like the woman from Lagos just mentioned, the fish. They can buy them and dry them up. Government should buy them. There's no hard and fast rule to it. We can't allow our smallholder farmers to go to the market this period. It's a lockdown. Let them also stay back and enjoy the safety at home. But the government should do something to buy off, mop up these products rather than even asking them to go to the market.
Okay, thank you very much. Hold on, Azubike, do you want to respond to that? Or do we have any member of scope? Okay.
Yes, let me just also say that one of the, in addition to allowing farmers be able to carry their produce, because it's not everywhere that stampede is happening. We also recommended that a special produce buying and transportation should be arranged by government to support farmers so that they buy all this produce off from farmers to reduce the massive post-harvest losses that is happening. Thank you.
So, sorry,
right.
Kemi, just
yes,
add that, the issue of the product, the supply chain is very, very important. In the FCT where some of us are, for example, they say there will be market twice. And that market starts from 10 in the morning to 2 p.m. Within that, how do you transport from the places that are so far away? Many people are ready to the market because they want to go quickly to the market and buy. and move around. We should also recognize that at this time is even now we have people want to equip their homes, not just for the lockdown, but maintain the supply chain for the house, for the home as well. And so I'm worried about the safety of even the farmers in terms of exposing them to the disease. But with the kind of system that we have in Nigeria, we're still having to take the food physically to the market, having to take things physically to the market. And so there is a lot that we have to do within this period. It's a system that we face ourselves, that the food needs to be for the people. We need a safety net, a kind of safety introduced to the people for them to acknowledge. How do you take the food from the village or from that environment to the next environment? It should be protected by the security system because of the kind of the nature of our systems. In other places, I can tell you, they just buy all the food. The government will mop the food and you go into the store. There is a supply store for the poor. You just go to the store and they give you the basic, equipment, and then you move it. So we do have a lot of the things that is confronting us. But there is the issue of the safety. The farmers need to sell. There's a whole lot that we are looking at.
All right, thank you very much. So Benga Daniki, please, you may proceed with your question.
Okay, yeah, thank you very much, Kemi. Very quick one. First, I would like to quickly possibly respond to the comments made by the Swell president. I know that as of a few days back, the DIG in charge of operation, to see how the issue of logistics, how farmers to go to the market to sell their wares, they had a meeting. So I wouldn't know if the SWOFON representative or anyone from ActionAid was present during that meeting. But I know it was reported that I addressed logistics, met with the DI, service recommendations or this concept.
Benga, we don't seem to be getting you clearly. I don't know if could you just type, is it possible for you to type it and share, or you just adjust where you are so that you have a better connection? We are struggling to get your question. Benga, are you there? Do you have a better network here? It's still the same thing, Benga. Benga, it's still the same thing. It's still the same thing. Could you just be on mute? You could just quickly chat up, send the question, and let's see how we can do that. Do we have any other questions?
Yes, can you hear me now?
Okay. Benga, try talking again. Let's see. Okay, just hold on, please. Benga, please go on mute. We can't hear you. I'll reach out to you now so that I get your question. So can we go ahead to Mr. Philip?
Okay. Good afternoon or good evening, all. I first want to talk about the problems we're having.
Even that one that is on top of the screen.
The farming season this year, we all know, just like it's been pointed out, it's going to be pretty difficult for farmers to, go to their farms to farm this year. Already as we speak, we know that the supply chain is already fragmented, and Ramadan also is a major issue because as they are farming, they don't have the strength to go as they're fasting. Some of them don't have the strength to go there. If you check, Kano is reputed to be, for now, if you want to go by what is happening there, you can say it's the epicenter of the COVID-19. And Kano, we know, is a very, agrarian place where you have rice, beans, wheat, millet, and every other thing. From what is happening there now, we know it's pretty difficult after what they farmed last year for them to go back to farm. As I talk, I've been locked down in Abuja for the past 3-4 months now. Even before this event, I could not travel. I have a small farm in Delta State. I've not been able to access it. I've been trying how to go there to harvest the crops, but with this lockdown, it's a major problem. There's also this issue of community transmission, which is a major issue because once it gets to somebody in the village, the farmers, it can get to them and it's a problem. So my question is, we've been having series of talks and dialogue and press conferences, even recommendations. We know that the government will always come out to say that they have plans, but in the end, nothing will come out. We've made recommendations here. If the government fails, to implement those recommendations, what will we feel as a nation on how will we go about it?
Okay, so I'll let Mrs. Mary Afan, please, could you take that, could you respond to Philip's question? Mrs. Mary Afan, are you still here? Or a member of SWOFON, a member of SWOFON executive, can you respond to Philip's question, please?
Well, Kemi, if they are not there, this is a joint press conference and it's a joint action. We stand in solidarity with SWOFON and we stand in solidarity with Nigerians who are most vulnerable. There are advocacies, advocacy steps. We have been going to the government. We work with the Federal Ministry of Agriculture. We work with the state ministries of agriculture. We work with SMIDA. And so we will take it to the next level. Making this contribution at this time is to ensure that we need to cry out and we need to take it to the next level to say, this is what is happening to farmers all around the country. Nigeria is more than self-sufficient if we tackle the problems of the supply chain and we're able to aid farmers. At this point, this is what is happening. How do they get their produce? You open up the market, you say, okay, you can go and get some market, you can get some food stuff from the market. If nobody is in the market, if nobody takes anything to the market, how will anybody be at that level? I don't know if many of you have been on the roads at this time. If you have gone through the road to make it from one end to the other, even as they opened, they said, today you are free to go and buy things between this hour and that hour. The security people are on the road. It's a total lockdown. The way they used to meet, to move the supply chain is when you organize your thing to take it through the night and so on and so forth before it gets to the market the next morning. We need security. We need, of course, education. We need to protect them because the producers become frontline, at this point, because they need to keep people nourished. If not, the whole family, the whole country is going to be something else. And so we take it to the next level. We have a series of plans of what to do when the government is not listening. And to this point of saying some of the decisions are taken, how do you get to a meeting at this moment? How do you go to a meeting? There are very few civil society organizations that have been invited. You can see from the national, from the federal government, they have made their committee. There is no civil society organization involved. At the local government level, they are trying to involve the civil society and so on. But this fight cannot be fought by one person. It cannot be fought by government alone. You see the civil society organizations struggling and the private sector also coming and giving food, palliatives and things like that at different levels. We are still here together. This is a national call and we need to be well organized.
Okay, thank you very much, ma'am. So we'll take question from Georgina, Georgina from STV now. Then David Ayodele from Pauchi would also take your question before we move on to Professor Uthman. Please, if you are not speaking, could you kindly be on mute, please? Could you kindly be on mute, please, if you are not speaking? Georgina, please, you have the floor.
Yeah, okay, good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. I really appreciate this conference, as I know that this is a very serious issue because food is very essential. I think I want to suggest that ActionAid and SOFON collaborate with people that will directly implement the recommendations, especially giving access to small-scale farmers.
Georgina, we lost you there.
I
Okay.
can hear that.
Can you hear me now? Oh, okay.
Yes, we
can
can
you
hear
me?
you. We can hear you,
Okay,
Georgina.
so I think I'm suggesting, it's rather a suggestion, not a question, that ActionAid Nigeria and SOFON work directly with the Presidential Task Force and the various state task force implementing these recommendations, because they're the ones that will actually give the instructions to the security agencies on whom to allow, access to the roads and whom not to. So if this is made clear, and you work with a presidential task force and maybe the FCT task force or any of the state task force, so that they can pass down this information to those that are working, that's the security agencies, the NCDC and the rest of them that are on the roads. Those are the ones that can now understand that, make them understand clearly that we need farmers to have access to the market. I think it will go a long way in ensuring that these recommendations will be, implemented. And, if we pass recommendations over to them, then they could work on it, because it's very essential. If they don't understand, they'll keep stopping these people and harassing them. That's my suggestion.
All right, thank you very much for the suggestion, Georgina. If there's any comments on it, we'll take it from any of the executives as we go by. So can we have Ayodele? Ayodele, you have the floor, sir.
Good day to everybody. There are two issues I want to raise here. The first is some of the states, including Bauchi, are not under total lockdown. And I believe some of the states can borrow that kind of idea. We are under lockdown, maybe say between Monday, a partial lockdown rather. So people, particularly the small scale farmers in their respective communities, them are based in, we are not under lockdown. So what I am suggesting here is that other states within the federation, that's ActionAid can link up, discuss such issues with other governors, so that those in rural areas who produce substantial part of what we feed the nation with can also use that opportunity to do some land clearing. That's one. The other aspect is that from what I've seen here in Bauchi, I can see vehicles moving from Plateau to Bauchi with yam and other produce. So what is necessary for ActionAid to do is to liaise, discuss, and create some, good relationship with the security operatives. I don't think the security operatives are so bad as we. There are some that have that human relations. People have some bad eggs here and there. Even within the civil society, we have such people. So I believe ActionAid has a role to play in ensuring that we talk to some of the security operators in such areas. Like I said, I've seen trucks moving from part of Plateau to Bauchi, yam. So, and certainly some of these trucks carrying such products are some of the exemptions the federal government is talking about. So I think the ActionAid can exploit that opportunity to talk to some of the governors and the security operatives. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ayodele. Thank you very much. We sincerely appreciate, and we're taking notes. If there's any comments to your feedback, then we'd have a member of the team respond to you. Professor Uthman from ABU. Please hold on, Abbas. Can we take Professor Uthman from ABU? Then Abbas Jimo, you would have the floor right after Professor Uthman, please. Professor Uthman.
Hello.
I also have a question.
Please hold on.
Hello.
Please hold on.
I also have a question.
Please hold on, sirs. Can we have Professor Uthman? He has the floor now, please.
Okay. Hello, everybody, please. Good evening. My name is Professor M.K. Uthman. I'm the Executive Director of National Extension of Satellite and Services, NARLS, the only national institute with a mandate to advance the frontiers for agricultural extension in Nigeria. Let me first of all commend all of you for putting heads together to find the solutions for the problems that is actually existing now. I would like to quickly make a point. One of the points I want to make is that last week, Thursday, we had the similar Zoom meeting with all the EDPs in Nigeria, although not many of them were able to join, but with several stakeholders. And the question now is, that was posed by the Permanent Secretary of Ministry of Agriculture is, what are the urgent, practicable, implementable action that can be done to really avert the looming food crisis, especially now that the 2020 wet season is commencing. So this is the question. And I would like to put this same question. Can we come out with point? A lot of issues are, the problems are well known to all of us. We can imagine the problems. We are all facing them. NLS is working with more than 300,000 farmers, directly, and with several other farmers indirectly. So we are very much fully aware of the problems being caused by this COVID-19. But now I think what we need is to have solutions. Can we have solutions? What are the suggestions from individuals and from organizations? Let us see them and see what can be done in the next 1-2 weeks. I think that is the most important thing. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Uthman. So we'll just take one more question so that we get Annette to respond to the question and Professor Uthman's suggestion at the same time. So Abbas Jimoh, please, you have the floor.
Yeah, good evening all, and thank you to the ActionAid and all the other stakeholders for putting things up. My question is to the ActionAid Country Director. The Ministry of Agri said that they claim they've reached out to civil society organizations, the relevant one, and I think the ActionAid must be part of those one they will reach out to, especially on the issue of agriculture and the food supply during this lockdown. And the Mrs. Ernest comment that no one was reached out to apart from local government was a surprise to me. Does it mean that ActionAid was not part of the other team that met with the Ministry of Agriculture on how to facilitate the movement for the farmers beyond the promise by the PTF? So maybe reply to that. And I'm going to suggest that if that was not done, she should table a point to the Ministry of Agri, while I will call her later in the day or tomorrow morning and table the same thing at the PDF National Briefing tomorrow. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. NLB, do you still have this country director on here?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, please, could you take that and you may also respond to Professor Uthman, please.
Okay, I want to say that, ActionAid is known to engage the government and also preparing all other stakeholders, so the partners that we support to engage the government. But we don't engage the government unless we are invited. Sometimes we go out to seek for, participation or trying to engage with them. If we have a case, we take to them. And we have made our recommendations. We'll take it to the Ministry of Agriculture, the Federal Ministry of Agriculture. During the lockdown, this is why this press conference is through the medium that we have it now. How do we reach out to them? We were not invited, not to my knowledge. Azubike is at home. Everybody is under lock. Only very few skeletal staff on essential come to duty. We are not involved. Many civil society organizations are not in the COVID-19 plan. The majority of the plans, I don't know, I'm happy that Prof is here. We are talking of recommendations. We have given our recommendations, and I ask that we send it to Prof as soon as possible. Please email. I'm sure that Azubike and the team, we have made our recommendations. We have produced, things are in the farm at the moment. Let me give you a practical example. I went to the market the other day. Unfortunately, I was having lots of meetings till almost the last minute for the closure. I went and I queued for tomatoes. Only one place they were selling tomatoes left at that particular market. And it was not a kind of tomatoes that you can say, this is nice tomatoes for me to go and queue about. but I have to buy food for my family. And this is happening everywhere. But somewhere in the country, there are lots of tomatoes that are in the farm that they are not picking, or they have picked, they cannot sell. So I can understand when the dear journalist there mentioned that there was a stampede in the market. The farmers want to sell their produce. There is a competition. People need the food, but how do they get it across? And if moving, things from the market, ActionAid cannot be talking and begging the government for them to provide market to their people, to guarantee security, for those who are taking food from one place, from the market to the end users. How do we, it should be something, is a duty of the government, and we are calling them to be responsible. Do we have to call the governor? I watched one episode of where some women stole in a truck with their farm produce to Cross River State, and they were arrested and so on and so forth. I see these poor women and I say, all they are trying to do is to sell the food so that they can also go and feed their family. And so you are looking at that across the country. One of the things that we have found out, because I've been on the street, we are on Essential. So we've been on the street. Sometimes so many Nigerians are not, they are breaking the law. That is one thing. And so on a queue, you will find a lot of people, a whole stream, and the security says you are not moving. Meanwhile, those who are supposed to be going to the market, they are stuck in the backlog of those who are being prevented from not moving. And so it's a struggle for the security system too. But we are calling and asking the government to open the doors for who they should open the doors for. We are not part of the COVID-19 plan yet, but we are doing a bit. But I can assure you that ActionAid is in different communities. We are now into food intervention. We have been on prevention, which is using a microphone through our community facilitators to educate the people. But we are now going into the other intervention. We're starting from this weekend, it's moved already, that we are now going to supply food to some of the communities. And that is a contribution from civil society. We need to do more. Many other civil society want to get on the road. So Abbas, I'll be happy, if you call me later, tell us what to do, what we can do, who to take it to at the lockdown situation is another.
Thank you very much, Mr. Neobi. So before I get Boluaji from Vanguard to speak, can I have Constance Okeke? Constance Okeke is the program manager for public financing of agriculture from ActionAid International. Constance, please, you have the floor.
Okay, Kemi, can you hear me?
We can.
Yeah. All right, thank you, ActionAid and SCOFON for this useful opportunity you've created. It goes to show that in difficult times, we will always find a solution. Who would have ever thought about thinking of having farmers on Zoom to air their views? But it shows you that they are resilient and they are willing to make any sacrifice to bring their voices to the fore. I've listened to a few of the questions and comments, and when we talk about one steps to ensuring that we avert the looming food crisis, is a typical example of what SWOFON stands for. SWOFON is a platform of small-scale women farmers across Nigeria. They're in all the 36 states and in the FCT. They have leadership structures, both at the national and the state chapters, down to the community level. So if, for instance, government is saying that we can't reach all the farmers, we can't buy from everybody, everybody has to be on lockdown, these women farmers have leadership structure. Can the government mandate, right from the state level or the local government level, for the ministries or the relevant agencies to work with SWOFON chapters to mop up the food in the field so that they can buy up from these women? They don't have to go on the road, yes, like somebody suggested, but mop up what they have so that they can have rewards for what they have sweated for, and then they can also be supported to plan for the new year. We are talking about the post-harvest losses, but the new farming season has started and people are not yet going to the farms. And then in the next few months, by God's grace, COVID will be over. So what happens? Already prices of food have gone up by 50%. As it's even going up, these monies are not going to the pockets of So it's very clear what government can do, but the idea is, are they willing to do the right thing? These farmers are registered, they are known, both at the state level, the national level, and even their local government levels. So they know where they are, and the women are saying, we are willing to support. we are willing to provide our produce. All we need is for you to meet us halfway. All we need is for you to recognize that we can do this. And then again, another thing that came to my mind was when we talked about insurance. Yes, the assessment has brought out the fact that there's a wide gap between these insurance services provided and the ones the women are assessing. At least I can testify because I went to the field with the team when we were generating this information. Yes, the National Agric Insurance Corporation, have also pledged to, make provisions subsequently. But then, given this pandemic that has happened, can't we have a special agric insurance designed for farmers? Because agric produce is something you cannot 100% say if you pay premium on, you can decide what will happen. Okay, let's say I've paid a premium for my produce, and then I was going to mitigate against or guarantee against climate change impact or produce failure. COVID pandemic was not expected. So what happened? So we can design a special insurance for farmers at a minimized cost so that they can able to, mitigate some of this impact when they are faced with it. So there are a lot of different ways, these things can be done. And I know that ActionAid and other civil society working with farmers would be willing to sit with the farmers to come up with, even if you want us to do step-by-step guide on what the government will do, yes, we will produce it, but would they be willing to take it on board so that these things can be done? But the simple, clear message that the farmers
Observation, please. Observation, please.
Okay.
Observation, please.
Should I stop?
Yeah, let me just make this observation, please, for the sake of time, please. This is press conference. I want to strongly suggest that whatever question we have, let's go straight to the point. For the sake of some of us who are grappling to buy the charge card for data, please, we should consider that too, please.
Okay, thank you.
I'm Mohammed Bashir, New Telegraph. Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir.
So finally, the idea is that if we don't listen to the voices of the farmers, the food crisis will hit us and it will hit us real bad. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Constance. So we have Boluwaji from Vanguard. Boluwaji, please, you have the floor. Is there any other person with questions so that we know how many more questions we have and we can round up? Do we have any other questions besides Boluwaji? Any other person with a question?
I don't have a question, but I have a recommendation.
Okay, could you type your recommendation in the chat box, please?
It's all right.
Thank you very much, Tosin. Okay, Boluwaji, you have the floor.
Thank you, host. I guess you can hear me now.
We can hear you.
Okay, thank you so much. From the presentation, Mrs. Sene spoke so much about massive post-harvest losses and some other problems that may arise from this lockdown. I guess, is it not better if you make a recommendation that all markets should be open with strict adherence to precautionary measures? I think that would be better because just like it is being observed, there are some states who are not even on lockdown. Kogi is on technical lockdown. So if the markets are open with precautionary measures, all these losses can be averted. That's just number one. Number two, the federal government seems to work with data, or most often they like figures. Is it not better to put all these losses in quantity, just like say, okay, maybe this is the number of tons that is lost, or this is the amount that farmers will lost during this lockdown?
Okay, thank you very much. Do you have any other question, please? Do we have any other question? Okay, so I'll let NLB respond to Boluwaji and at the same time give our closing remarks. Then we have Mrs. Mary Afan from SWOFON also give our closing remarks. So NLB, please, you have the floor.
Okay, thank you very much, Boluwaji, for your observation. You know, it's a difficult question to ask. To tell the government, open all the markets and do restrictions. I can tell you that even the markets that are open right now, if you go to the market on the market days, there is no social distancing. It's a whole crowd. So we are just being lucky that this pandemic, the way it's coming, it's something that one cannot quantify. It's very difficult because the government has the right to protect people from getting contaminated. You know, so it's a difficult balance. But within the hours that is there, moving produce cannot be restricted to the hours that you are opening up the market. And even the markets that are open, there is need for social distancing. There is need for a whole, education around, and that's why we need to get like the National Orientation Agency involved very seriously, and some of the things that is happening. I think having a clear strategy on what we are doing about the palliatives and what we are doing during this period is very, very important. But we are not seeing, I don't know if you see the strategy that the government has on the COVID-19, apart from the health, the health people, the medical doctors, the health workers, they're doing excellent job. They're doing a lot of work. NCDC is doing a lot of work. Which section are you hearing of issues again? I know that the humanitarian, they are trying to do their best, but what is the whole structure? We need the Ministry of Agriculture to come up. What is your strategy within this period? What are the other strategies? Ministry of Women Affairs, they are not even involved in the COVID-19 team. And we are talking of women, gender-based violence being increased and so many things. So there is a lot that is going on here. We cannot just ask the government to open all the markets, but within the time of opening the market, moving the food chain from one place to the other, it has to go beyond. It needs a specific strategy, and that strategy is allowing workers, agricultural people, the food farmers, to move their wares from one place to the other. It cannot be under the restriction, but they need to have education in order to also. But I want to say a big thank you for your time, for being here, and for even the professor that joined us and all the other stakeholders that joined us for this. Well done. Well done to my team as well. Thank you, journalists, for being on this.
Thank you, Mrs. Mary Afan. So while giving your closing remarks, could you also talk about farmers? Do you have some cases of farmers that have reported to you of being harassed? And if you do have such cases, please expatiate on it. We have a question regarding that. So, Mrs. Mary, please, shall we have your comments, please?
Okay, thank you very much. First of all, I want to appreciate all the participants that were able to attend this press briefing. And the issues are coming up very strongly, and we believe strongly that you help us to push these issues. And we are so happy that many of you believe on what we can do to be able to feed the nation. As the national president, I'm in touch with all my 36 state coordinators, including FCTs, and I've been hearing reports from women about how they want to move their product to the market. Even when the government said the lockdown, they can carry their perishable product to the market for sale, and the police are actually stopping them on the way. Some of them got to lose the product, or they will be asking them to pay huge amount of money apart from what they have paid the drivers before they could reach the market. And even when they are in the market, they will be harassed that they are not supposed to come out. Some of them resolve to leaving the perishable product to spoiled in the farm, especially those into the production of vegetables and fruits, tomatoes, cucumber, cabbage, carrot, and what have you. And in fact, this thing have brought a lot of loss in income by the women farmers. I want to believe that as we continue to advocate, we continue to push down, the government will come to understand with us, because he who wears the shoes know where it pains. We know what we are passing through now, we and our families, in order to be able to sustain ourselves and even produce the food for the next farming season. But by the special grace of God, we will continue to advocate. Even the palliative that they are sharing, we are appealing that of women farmers should be in terms of improved seeds and seedlings and fertilizers, so that they can be able to produce, because most of the income have been lost. I want to say a very big thank you to all of you. God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Mary, and we truly appreciate everybody's attendance and participation here. And we've noted the feedback. Some people dropped feedback and recommendations for us on the chat group. We've noted them. We'll take on the learning, and just to say that we'll share the video of this press conference. We'll share with everybody that indicated on the chat group, and others that we also have their email addresses. And we would also share the brief, the text of the speech from the SOFON president and ActionAid country director would share with everybody whose email we have noted and we have in our archives already. Thank you very much, and we'll get back to you. And please feel free to call us should you have any questions, should you want any of our stakeholders, any of our team members from ActionAid or SOFON to come on board your program to talk more about this. And lastly, the SOFON executives and the food and agriculture team from ActionAid will be having a tweet chat still on this on Tuesday at 10 a.m. So please, we also enjoin you to join. It's more or less like a town hall meeting between smallholder farmers, ActionAid, and the public. So thank you very much, everybody. We sincerely appreciate, and have a wonderful evening ahead. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Have a nice
you.
day. It was a nice
Women
day.
farmers, oh yeah.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
We appreciate
Thank you,
all of
everybody.
you.
Yeah, women farmers,
And
oh
Mrs.
yeah.
Johnny.
Oh yeah.
Johnny,
Constant,
we are
we've
in
not
our
been paid
house.
per diem. Constant, we've not been paid per diem and transport money.
Okay.
Tazubuke, let me sign my per diem
Don't
form,
even
please.
forget it. Yeah.
Scan number.
President, thank you.
Vouchers.
See you, Merry Christmas.
Thank you.